This is the Double Doink Dynasty League podcast with Boyer, Andy, and your host, Tyler.
Hits the upright again. That's impossible.
Season's going to end on a double doink.
Welcome back to the Double Doink Dynasty podcast, presented by two of your performance-enhancing dads. At least one of us is here every week, and then Andy and Boy are going to take turns here. So we got a little bit of a different layout tonight. We're going to have some guests popping in and out. But let's get started with some of these trades. We had 11 trades. A couple of them were not going to hit because it was just a no-name player for a later round pick. But Boyer, if you want to do me a favor and jump into Andy gets Brady and a 24 first from Underhill for Hurts and a 24 second.
Yeah, so I think at this point, Andy was playing more for this year than he has been recently, and Brady was a more consistent, higher performing player. Hurts was the younger guy who's got the low rushing floor ceiling. I personally don't like Hurts. Obviously, it does put Andy in a little bit of a bind going in the future, but Brady could also play for the next 5 years and play at a high level. So I think that it could end up being like kind of stupid awesome for Andy, especially if he gets a young quarterback, say, in the draft this year, and then Brady plays for another 2, and then he's got a guy waiting in the wings. I think it works out for him really well. Underhill gets a young quarterback, but there's also a chance that Hurts is out of the league here in a half a year to a year. So it's a little bit of a risk for him, but if it works out, he gets, with those guys who can rush, they can end up putting monster fantasy seasons together. So it could work out for him. I think it's less likely to than Andy getting Brady in at first.
Yeah, well, but Andy got the first, and Andy's got Joe Burrow. So it's not like he necessarily needed Hurts moving forward anyway.
That's a good point. Yeah, so that's a great trade for Andy. I think for Underhill, it's a risk reward. I don't think the risk was worth the reward, but he took his chance, and we'll see how it works out for him in the future.
Especially with him having Mahomes. That whole trading for quarterbacks thing, this blows my mind still.
Right. I don't understand why he would trade a first rounder away for another quarterback to sit behind Mahomes. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Right. So let's jump into the next one. Mattoon gets Rojo and a 23 third and a 22 fourth from Underhill for Mark Ingram and a 24 third. So the way I kind of look at this is Rojo is in my mind still the better player of the two. Ingram is older. Yeah, he went to the Saints, has a better situation now than being on the Texans. But if Rojo is still young, still talented, and could still find a home, I just don't think they use him wherever using him correctly in Tampa Bay. So I think he needs a new home, and it could be a solid piece. He upgraded to a 3rd and 23 instead of a 3rd and 24, and got a 22 fourth out of it. So the fourth is whatever. He moved up a year for the pick for the 3rd, and I still like Rojo better. So.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Rojo's the better player here, especially long term. Who knows what he could be? I mean, he's got the talent clearly, but I think I think Arians has gotten into his head a little bit. So, change of scenery, and he could be a steal for Mattoon, which is unfortunate because Mattoon's already got a good team.
Right. So let's jump into that next one for Mattoon. Mattoon gets Pittman and a 23 second from Colin Kelly for Keenan Allen. Go ahead and give me your thoughts on that one, Boyer.
Keenan Allen, if I remember right, was, I don't know, Mattoon's got like 5 receivers he could play any week, or at least at the time he did. Like, he's just had a ton of players. So in this case, he gets a little bit younger. Pittman since has been fantastic. He's been phenomenal, and he got the second for him. Keenan Allen's getting a little older. He's starting to get, I don't want to say he's getting phased out because he's still having good weeks, but at some point he will be. And I think is that at the beginning of the year when Mike Williams was going off, you could see the Chargers wanting to kind of move away from him and into more of an explosive offense. And Keenan Allen's not the explosive guy. And he'll continue to be that possession guy, but I think he'll keep fading as the years goes on. He'll still be a solid fantasy asset. Pittman, though, he could be fantastic. Again, he got a pick out of it. We got to stop trading with Mattoon because he's kind of cleaning house at this point, I feel like.
Yeah, well, and he's got D-Hop, he's got Evans, he's got Pittman, he's got Cooper Kupp. I mean,
yeah, I think this would have made more sense to me if, Colin Kelly's playing for this year, so I get him wanting to add Keenan Allen. It would have made me feel better if it wasn't Mattoon and it was like Colin Nolan, who wanted the young receiver and the pick for Keenan Allen. But the fact that Mattoon is getting the youth while still maintaining a steadily now roster is just, it's getting annoying. Mattoon, stop it.
Yeah. All right, so let's hit one more here before our first guest jumps on. Maybe two more, we'll see when he gets on. But I moved Debo to Jerfry for a 22 second, which is Chris's, and then a 22 third and a 23 first. So I got a first, second, and a third for Debo. Give me your thoughts on that since I was in that trade.
I think it was decent value for Debo. Like AJB went for 2 firsts and a second. So I think you probably could have gotten 2 firsts and a second, or at least a first and 2 seconds. But you were also trading a little bit later in the season. Teams had kind of solidified a little bit. So I think that you got okay value. I think, Dynasty is all about timing and when you're willing to sell those players. And I think your timing was just a little bit late on this one to get max value, but you didn't get bad value. So
yeah, well, and in my mind, Kittle was coming back. Ayuk, I still think is going to be relevant. I don't understand that situation with Ayuk, but he should be relevant coming back. Debo does still have some injury history, and he plays hard, plays aggressive, and takes those hits and absorbs all that contact. I love Debo, especially as a Niners fan. I love Debo, and I knew he was going to be the wide receiver 1 there this year. But to be honest, if this is what I got out of him, and this is quote unquote his max value, maybe, I don't know. Maybe Jeremy and Fry could flip him next year if he has another good year for something more for a similar value. But I kind of went into full rebuild mode, which I don't like. But that's kind of where I'm at this point, moving him and Saquon, which we'll talk about later. But that's where we're at. So I think our first guest is ready to jump on. So we will bring in the Mean Machine here, the manager from the Mean Machine. We're going to give him a couple questions, see kind of where he's at, where he's leaning, and get his opinion on his team and where his future's at. So, all right, let's get Andrew in here. Maybe.
Hello.
Hey, I hear you.
Hey, what's up? Good.
All right.
How's it going, guys?
Good. How are things?
Good.
Good. How's the league so far? All right.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been keeping me busy.
You're not losing, so that's a good start.
Yeah, better than I expected, so that's good.
Much better than I am.
Yeah, true.
So, all right, Andrew, we're going to run through a couple questions here, ask you a little bit about your team, your management, where you see yourself going, some trades you've made. Just kind of throw some answers here. We want to get some feedback from you.
Sure.
Cool?
Yep, sounds good.
All right. So to start this season, the first podcast, I had you at 9 wins. Boyer had you at 10. Andy had you at 9. We had you winning your division.
Yeah.
Do you think you can still win your division? If not, what are some of the biggest issues you've ran into that may or may not let you win this division?
Well, I mean, I like my team. I feel like I got some good players. They haven't been very consistent in the beginning. I had a couple like 60-point weeks that really sunk me, but the 9 to 10 wins seems kind of spot on with the schedule. But what's sinking me is that the our other league mates are doing well.
Yeah, nobody saw Underhill doing what he's doing.
No, and that's where you guys projected them to be bad, and they've been killing it. So
yeah, well, I also projected Ayuk not to put up a zero for the first
sure.
five weeks.
Yeah, but
right?
I mean, he did that, but then I got Elijah Mitchell for basically nothing. So I and Jonathan Taylor's been playing, jumped up a few rungs. So
I was
no complaints.
I was not happy about you taking Jonathan Taylor. That was my shot in the first round. That was my goal.
That turned out to be a good decision.
Yeah.
Basically, I feel like I got a chance to win, and mainly it's because of the way you got the schedule set up. So if I get on a hot streak and tear through my division, then I should be good.
Yeah, fair enough. So we kind of brought up Ayuk. Do you see him having any sort of bounce back this year? Are you hoping for something for next year?
I mean, I'm hoping that he's at least a flex play this year, and then gets his head straight next year and jumps back to being a little bit better. Yeah. He's definitely not at the tier that I expected him to be, but I don't need him to be my 1 or 2. I just need him to be a solid wide receiver 3 for me. So
right, with having Diggs hasn't been great all year either, but having Lamb, having Diggs, having Ayuk, he's a solid 3, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for.
So Damien Harris and Zach Moss, I was asking for him early in the year. They both looked pretty good. They were kind of late round flyers for you.
I expected Moss to be playing the way that Harris has been playing, but all I really needed was one of the two of them to do something.
Yeah.
So that's been they've both been pretty good. Not going to complain with where I drafted them.
Gotta be nice to have that depth. That's something my team is definitely missing. It's got to be nice to be able to flip guys around and play those matchups.
It's true. I mean, once I made that trade for what's his face from Denver, and having having just another guy that I can just kind of flip in there, it's kind of nice. And with Mitchell playing the way he's been playing and getting healthy, like it's definitely depth that I didn't foresee having. At least in the beginning part of the year.
So with Mitchell, he might have been the best rookie draft pick so far. You got him in the late 3rd.
Yeah.
Been putting up numbers. Yeah, he got injured for a little bit, but
sure.
Was Elijah Mitchell on your radar, or did he just kind of fall into your lap there?
It was definitely a fall in your lap thing. I was aiming for Ramondre Stevenson to get Harris's backup. He went, I think, early 3rd round.
Yeah, he went middle of the 3rd, yeah.
So once that happened, I'm just like, if I'm going to take a flyer, I'm going to take a flyer on a running back. And I basically read up at the time, like 5 minutes before I picked him, and I kind of liked his read up. So I'm like, you know what, I'll take a shot at him, and it just worked out.
And the Niners go through 7 running backs a year, so one of them sticks, and you got the right one.
Yeah, exactly.
Andrew, what website was that write-up on? I need it for future research purposes.
It was whatever Dynasty website actually went that far down. It was one of like 2. Yeah.
So, Trevor Lawrence, talking about draft picks, you drafted Trevor Lawrence in the 1st. Was your plan to draft Lawrence in the 1st?
No, that was very far away from my plan, but I kind of wanted, like, I feel like at the time I wanted one of the top tier wide receivers, and I think they all went pretty early. And then it was either between him and Trey Sermon, and at this point I feel like I made the right choice, but I'm not sitting here like patting myself on the back. I don't really know if Lawrence is going to be anything, but with Prescott, I don't need him to be.
You got a couple years. You got a couple years still.
I was just hoping that he'd be either playable, or if he was good enough, tradable to get the talent that I would have gotten with that
Yeah.
Top pick. So
So you kind of talked about getting Melvin Gordon as just kind of a depth piece. The only other trade that you've really had was getting rid of Gainwell to pick up Juju.
Yep.
Just trying to pick up another wide receiver depth to fill in for Ayuk and some of that like wide receiver three.
Honestly, I'm not very high on Gainwell. I feel like it might not have been the best move. I'm just looking at it like just the way that we're so running back like so tied to the running back. It's like I probably could have gotten something better for him maybe, or held on to him until he was projected to start and then try to trade him. I still like Juju. Hopefully he gets healthy next year and is helpful for me. I just didn't see Gainwell as being a number one running back, but I could be wrong. It's early. But,
yeah. Oh, for sure. And we're all trying to learn this.
Oh yeah. Well, that's. I mean, I haven't made very many trades. I've been in talks with a lot of people about trades. I've been pretty stagnant, but been learning pretty quickly with all the trades everyone else has been making, and it's been a good experience so far.
Yeah. So thoughts at this point? Probably no big move before the trade deadline Saturday would be my guess.
Is that the trade deadline Saturday?
Yeah. Oh no, actually we have next week, I believe. Sorry. I think all my other leagues are this week.
Okay. So next Saturday.
Yeah, you looking at anything big or trying to add a piece to make a
run?
run?
Like if I was closer, if like I beat Boyer this week and the other two guys somehow like decide to lose that are ahead of me, which doesn't seem likely because I think one of them was playing Nolan or something.
Hey, he's a tough team, okay? He's a tough team to get past.
Well, yeah, Underhill's got Colin Kelly, which is halfway decent, but projections are Underhill. And then Burns has Chris, and they're projected pretty close at this point. So
yeah,
we'll see.
I don't know. I feel like my team is it doesn't have a huge like hole in it that's gonna. I just don't see a move currently that's gonna make me feel like I'm that much better than I was before, and I don't know if I feel like trading away my future for that. But we'll see what happens. If someone
fair enough,
someone wants to move someone that I like and it's a good price, I'll take it.
Yeah, I get it. You're always open to moving, but making sure the price is right. So.
Oh yeah.
All right, so last question before I kick you out of here and we get somebody else in. Where do you see yourself finishing the rest of this year? What's your projection for yourself right now?
Well, my projection, what am I, like 6-4?
Yeah, you're 6-4. The other two are 7-3. You're right there in the playoff hunt. 7-3, 6-4 is wild card.
I mean, I definitely feel like I feel like the last 3 weeks I got a good chance of going 2-3. It's really gonna depend on if I can win this week. If I can win this week, I feel like I have a good chance to go 3-4 and finish strong and hopefully get in the playoffs.
All right, fair enough. So,
yeah.
All right, Andrew, you got anything else or?
No, that's it. Right. I'm just
here
so I don't get fined.
Yeah, that's fair. We appreciate you jumping on. Thanks for being the first guest in this weird podcast go. So
yeah, cool. Thanks for having me.
All right, man. We'll see you later.
Cool. See you guys. See you, boy.
All right. Boy, I'm going to let you kind of take the lead on this next guest coming in here.
Sure.
The next guest is also from this division. He is currently going from last to first. Mr. Mike Underhill will be joining us here in a second. So we all made fun of him. We were all calling him bottom of the barrel, but see what he has to say.
There he is. Hey, Mike.
What up, boys?
What's going on?
Welcome to the podcast, sir.
Mr. Last to First over here, huh?
That's worth a shot.
Yeah. So we're gonna just run some questions here, ask you about your team, see kind of where you're at, where you're going, how you feel. So, Boyer, go ahead and start them off.
Yeah. So, Mike, we had you at Ty had you at 6 wins. I had you at 7. Andy had you at 8. If we would have put you third in your division, but you're currently sitting at 7 wins already, what do you think is contributing to that? What's your biggest factor right now?
Honestly, it's literally the biggest free agent move for me of the season was picking up Cordero Patterson. Having him come in the running back spot, I can move him to the wide receiver, flex. He's the ultimate utility player, and he consistently was putting up numbers until he got injured.
He'll be back.
He'll be back for sure.
They got nobody else on that team, man.
I'm literally looking right now. I was looking to see what Burnsy was doing, and he's got Mike Davis playing. He's only got 16 or 19 yards. So he's literally
the team right now.
Weapon. Yeah. So I'm really anxious to see what Gronk does if he comes back. Reed, I gotta thank you for James Conner. That's been another lifesaver for me.
Ugh.
Ty has got to be kicking himself about that one. That is rough because James Conner has been a machine.
I could have sold that man a lot higher.
For 2 seconds, I'll take it.
Underhill, how far do you think you can go?
Oh man. It honestly depends. I was just playing around on the app and I'm looking at just the playoff breakdown. And when I was against Matuna in the first round, him and I were pretty even. It was 99, 98 to where it was a 50-50. And then now as I'm looking, since I'm in the second spot, now I'm playing Matt. He's got a 12-point favorite on me. So I think it really just depends on where they match up and who gets who for those final 4. I definitely like where I sit for the rest of the weeks that I have left. I think I have 1 week with either Colin Kelly is this week. It might be Lezak. I think I was really the favorite in every week except for
you get Chris next week.
Yeah.
And then you jump to
should be Andy,
and then you get your division.
Yeah. So I mean, I think I would like to only see myself accrue another maybe 1 loss just to make sure I am within still the contention. For some reason, our division is just so strong and there's no we're all right there. 1, 2, 3. Andy's even there in 4. He's still got a shot hanging in there.
Nobody saw that middle division being even halfway deep.
I did.
Clearly.
It's a tough division for sure. It'll probably be the division that everyone's kind of watching out for because wild card looks like it might come from there too. And there's teams like me who are looking at needing to try and hit wild card, and it's going to be tough. So hopefully you guys beat up on each other in just the right way to allow some of us a chance.
I told Burnsy in the chat, I was like, man, every week that I win, you win. It's it'd just be nice for 1 week where I win and you lose, at least get some separation.
Yeah,
I would say I tried to do that for you last week, but it didn't work out.
Yeah, thanks a lot. You play me and your whole entire team destroys me, yet can't come through and do the same for everyone else.
Yeah, no. My team has laid some eggs in the last couple weeks. Underhill, looking at your most recent trades, me and Ty actually already went through these a little bit in the podcast, so you get to hear what we thought about it later. But
okay.
let's get your reaction.
All right.
Andy got Brady and a 24 first from you, and you got Hurts and a 24 second. What give us some thought process, how you feel about the trade.
So that Andy was obviously looking for Brady to come in and kind of, I guess, resurrect his team like I'm kind of hoping Mahomes does from here on out. And you guys hit on it from the beginning of the season with me having an older team. So I started looking at the older pieces, Brady, Julio, a couple other guys, even Mike Evans earlier in the season. My whole goal is just to get younger. So that kind of was what sparked that. I did give up the first for Jalen Hurts, but at that point it was moving Brady off the team while he was still worth something.
Fair
I think
enough.
I think we said it's going to be a high risk, high reward for you. Hertz could end up being awesome, or he could end up being out of the league in a year. So we'll see how it goes.
I can honestly see him. I know the talk is him leaving Philadelphia. I can see him going right down into that Miami offense and taking over for Tua.
Yeah, I mean he could go to New Orleans too, which would be a fantastic
Yeah.
landing spot for him. I think.
Yep.
I think Sean Payton could really make him into something. So we'll see. That'll be interesting to see where he goes. Speaking of players who have a chance to go to other teams, Mattoon got Rojo from you, and a 23 third and a 22 fourth for Mark Ingram and a 24 third. What are your thoughts on that one?
So not even gonna lie, I did not want to get rid of Rojo, but he is not playing nearly as well as anyone thought he was going to. I thought he was going to have that starting role locked
Or at
down.
all.
Or at all, yeah. I think literally that first game of the season, he fumbled, was that first quarter against Dallas, and that was it. Like at that point, his fate was sealed for the season. I did give up a lot for Ingram, and Ingram's sitting on my bench. The only reason Mattoon and I were talking, and Mattoon was like, hey, there's a couple of teams that are interested in him, that they're looking at playoff teams. So I literally just went strategy mode. If I got him, the other teams didn't, and maybe it knocked him out of the playoffs. So that's kind of the only reason why I even pulled the trigger on that trade.
Okay, so just trying to asset denial for some rivals there, huh?
Yep. Sorry, Fryer.
Yeah, to be honest, I got Rojo as like a hopeful RB2 in the other league, and man, he didn't even just disappoint. He's literally a hole on a roster. He's been dropped in just about every other league, like standard league that I've been in. It's only because we're in Dynasty, I think, that he's still rostered, because the benches are deep enough. Someone wants to keep, give him a chance.
Well, so like Rojo, or do you take like Mattoon also has Boston Scott? Like they're in the same quality, and right now Scott's getting the more playing time.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I still like Rojo's upside. Luckily, Mark Ingram is in New Orleans. You're going to get some workload out of Ingram at least.
Yeah.
But your cousin should have reported that earlier, and then maybe it wouldn't have become an issue.
I'll make sure he gets a shitty Christmas gift.
All right, so
no, I think Rojo it's literally going to take him going to a different team, and then he might have a shot. So I hope he finds a new team.
And that's what Colin Mattoon's banking on at this point. So I mean, he knew going in that it would take an off-season move most likely.
Yep.
So
going forward to kind of your draft a little bit, you've seen some return from your 4th round rookie pick, but he hasn't found his way off the taxi. Ty, who is his 4th round rookie pick?
Yeah, Mike, who's your 4th round rookie? Khalil Herbert.
Khalil Herbert, the one that everyone said I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah. Knew what you were doing. Knew.
No, they said I didn't know what I was doing.
Oh, you didn't know what you were doing.
I might have called him out and gotten yelled at for it as well. So whatever. It's fine. It's fine. Nolan, I'm sorry. Don't yell at me anymore.
So what are your thoughts on Hill?
Honestly, I'm stuck. I know Colin Nolan's trying to trade Tariq, and I was like, I think Khalil definitely has a chance. I just don't know if it's in Chicago with Tariq and Montgomery still there. If Montgomery leaves, then he might have a chance, but he's definitely one where I haven't even contemplated moving him off the taxi yet, because I know it's not going to be a plug and play every week kind of a situation.
Yeah, going into the draft, as a Bears fan, when we got him, I kind of looked him up a little bit, and I knew that he had some burst to him. I didn't realize he was as big as he was.
Well,
He's got some muscle to him.
Well, and they scouted him as the next Maurice Jones-Drew, and I've seen little spurts of it, but not what I want to see yet.
So
yeah, I knew he was supposed to be a bursty, more kind of an agile player. I just didn't expect him to have the beef to him to where he could bounce around inside and churn out yards. So I think that's probably what's been most impressive about him.
Yeah. So for me, I think he's gonna stay the number 2 right now. I don't think Tariq is gonna make a difference. I don't think Williams at this point is gonna make a difference. I think Khalil Herbert's
I think
clear number
Tariq is
2 at
done.
this
I think
point.
he might be out of the league by next year. I think that injury has just taken away potentially all of his agility and everything that made him special. And I mean, he's not even playing really right now. And it's been a long time since he's had his injury. He was expected to be back potentially by the start of the season. So I think it's kind of showing us that he might be out.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. The Bears are kind of a sore subject for me because it's like, do I really want to sit here and watch them lose again? Hear about how
Me
Nagy
too.
sucks again.
Me too. Hopefully we get rid of Nagy and give ourselves a chance next year. All right.
Fire everyone.
So Underhill, your team has gotten younger through some trades and free agents. Do you have any guys that you're looking to move? You're just going to see how the next rookie draft goes?
So I've been putting it out there. If anybody is interested in Ingram, he can go. Like I said, that was really just to kick out. I think it was Fryer, and I can't remember, there was another team that was interested in Mattoon was telling me about. So like I literally, that, like I said, just pure strategy. I have no desire in starting him. I'm stuck. I feel like I have a lot of depth at wide receiver, but it's like, who do I give up? Do I give up Chase Claypool? Do I give up Hollywood? Do I give up Christian Kirk? I don't know. I'm high on Damien Williams for sure. I don't think Damien Williams is gonna drop as significantly as everyone says he's going to.
No, I would agree. But really, when I wrote that question, I was eyeing Gronk as a whole, because a lot of your team has gotten younger. You moved Evans, you moved Julio, you moved Brady. Gronk was kind of the guy I looked at when I wrote that question. Because I don't know what Gronk's going to be, and I don't know if you could recoup any value when he comes healthy this year, or if you just plan on riding him and hoping that he can play 5 or 6 games a year at this point.
And yeah, Gronk is one that I definitely was like, okay, it's win now mode this year. You know, hopefully he comes through and plays the whole year for me. Obviously, he's been out for what, 6 weeks, 7 weeks.
He's been out for a while. Yep.
So I mean, even at this point, like, I'm not too happy with that. And then I'm looking through, you and I traded back and forth Everett and Hooper, both of who I think are now free agents. Or do you still have Everett?
No, I got rid of him.
Yeah, so both of those guys that we traded back and forth for are now free agents. I've jumped around. I've had Njoku. I've had CJ Uzoma. I picked up Conklin last week, which was just kind of a luck of a draw, and he ended up with 2 touchdowns.
I like Conklin.
And he's young, too. So, I mean, if he could sustain that tight end position, I don't know if he can in Minnesota.
Well, they had somebody there before him, and he got injured to start the year. What's his face?
Irv Smith.
Irv Smith was supposed to be the guy, and now Conklin came in and looks good. So I don't know.
Yeah,
so,
I think it all depends on where I sit for draft too. I mean, I might be drafting a tight end.
So let's quickly move to the last question. How long do you think you can ride this current team and stay competitive without making a big move?
Honestly, I don't even have an answer for you. I know I like the young guys. Josh Jacobs still scares me because he's not consistent.
That was your first round pick, just so you know.
Yeah, I know.
Okay,
I know.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Anyway, keep going.
But I will say, like, between the running back positions and the wide receiver positions, I've been more confident in my running backs than in my wide receivers. I would like to make a big move. I've had a couple people ask me about Jalen Waddle. He's been kind of mediocre. I was kind of curious what your guys' thoughts were on Waddle, but I truly don't know.
I'm not moving him at this point unless you get a decent haul for him. He's 22. He's young. He's got a good rapport with Tua. I think he's going to be fine. I wouldn't be moving him unless you get a nice haul for him. So
I think I'm definitely this year or next year, and then it's going to be rebuild. It might even be rebuild after this year if I can make a decent run into the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, see how things shape up coming next year. You know, we'll see. But anyway, you got last question. Where do you see your finish this year? Or if you're making playoffs, are you getting first, second, third, or fourth? I know you touched on it a little bit on matchups, but right now, if you have to predict, where are you going to end?
I'd like to see championship game versus Mattoon.
Okay, fair
That's
enough.
what I like to see. By the way, his only 2 losses are against Burnsy and me. So our division taking down Mattoon. Just putting that out there.
Fair enough. So, all right, Underhill, we appreciate you jumping on.
Not a problem, boys.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. It was fun.
We'll catch you again. We'll catch you again soon, man.
All right, cool. See ya.
Have a good one.
Bye.
All right. So we have another guest on waiting now. He would be the runaway rookies currently. He's been about 7 different names this year. We'll see what he ends at. Runaway rookies would be a guy by the name of Colin Nolan. Made a bunch of moves, really is hitting full rebuild at this point. So we'll talk to him a little bit about that in just a minute.
There he is, the ever controversial Colin Nolan.
You're smooth, my friends.
hey, did you just get off the golf course, man?
Yeah, man. Late night golf.
All right, Nolan. So we're gonna run through some questions here for you. Just fire them back off the top of your head. Let us know how you're feeling.
Awesome.
All right. So to start, I had you at 4 wins this year. Boyer had you at 6, which me and Andy talked about. No idea how he had you at 6.
Right.
And then Andy had you at 3. You might hit 3.
It's possible. It's totally possible.
I tried to get you to 6. I gave you a win.
You did, man. And I didn't even start a full roster, so you gave me double bonus, and I appreciate that.
So how are you feeling with where you're at and this rebuild that you're kind of slowly working on? I know you've tried to grab a couple players recently for this rebuild. How do you feel about your team? How do you feel about where you're going?
I feel pretty optimistic. I definitely felt going into the season that I had probably a 4th or 5th place team. I didn't think that I had a chance to win after there was a few trades made where like Boyer and Mattoon got a little bit stronger. So then that's when I kind of decided to cut my losses, get as much value of players as I could, recoup some draft picks that I had kind of moved around preseason, and just get a little bit more cost-effective younger players and just create more window of opportunity for like next season and beyond.
Yeah. So, you have 3 first rounders next year, right?
That is correct. Yep.
You did make a move for a first round. You got rid of a first rounder this year. You brought in Ridley, you brought in Sanders. We'll talk about those trades specifically in a minute. But with these 3 first rounders, where do you see yourself maybe next year? Do you see yourself back in that top 4, 5, 6 range, or you see yourself maybe taking an extra year?
I see ultimately my year being 2023 as the year I really think I'm more solidified. Next year, I think I could compete and be up in the flirt with the wild card if a few pieces continue to progress and a couple players like Miles Sanders and Calvin Ridley and Devontae Smith kind of take off. And I also like Michael Carter as well. So yeah, like I said, I'm more so looking at 2023 with the 3 first rounders. I'm kind of all over the place right now. I'm trying to weigh whether or not I want to save those for 3 very good rookies next year, because as the standings sit today, I believe that I have the 2nd pick, the 6th pick, and the 8th or 9th pick. And after looking at this year's rookie draft, I think that I could get 3 very good players. Or I could move a couple of those picks and get a guy that I've seen on tape and maybe be more aggressive next season, and while maintaining my 2023 draft.
Yeah, the nice thing about having that capital, it gives you so much flexibility as far as whether or not you want to, go for the future, go young, or if you want to buy a couple players and find yourself right back into the mix. And we've seen it with Underhill's team. We can make fun of what looks like a bad team all we want, and then a couple moves later, and you're possibly sitting at the top of a division sometime middle next year. So it gives you a lot of flexibility when you've got a lot of draft capital, and it's just such a different beast in Dynasty because of that. So it's got to be fun to play around the ideas and possibilities in your mind.
It definitely is. It's honestly the only good thing about losing is having all the draft capital and options and upside with I still have some good players that are still young, but have also established themselves as, top 10 to 12 guys.
Yeah. So real quick, run us through these last couple of trades you made with the Sanders and Ridley. Kind of give us your thought process. So you got Ridley from Chris for Corey Davis and a first, which was Mattoon's first. So it'll probably be back 2, maybe 3 if he happens to lose that first game. But back third, back fourth. Just kind of walk us through your mindset on that one.
With the Ridley trade, I obviously was going for top 5 upside at wide receiver. I thought that Ridley's more solidified as a wide receiver production-wise so far, and the fact that he's got a good quarterback for now. We don't know the future for the Falcons, but I trust Matt Ryan more so than Zach Wilson or Mike White. So I kind of just took the upside there. I really like Corey Davis and think he's got some promising years ahead. But
we know you like Corey Davis.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
He doesn't leave your lineup even when he's hurt.
Right. It was a little deal we had worked out. But so yeah, I just wanted that top 3 to 5 upside, because coming into the season, he was viewed as like a top 7 or 8 dynasty receiver.
Yeah.
And he's not playing this year is kind of saving mileage on him, because he's not playing because he's not hurt. He's playing reportedly because he's got personal issues going on.
Right. So.
Yeah, I have to say I love this trade for you. I mean, you think about the type of player that you could get in the back of the first. Like, you hope they become Calvin Ridley. That's what you hope, and so you ended up just getting him, and he's got the talent. Hopefully, they'll push down the field down the ball a little bit more next year, and he'll work out for you. But I thought that was a great trade.
Thank you.
So yeah, no, I love Ridley. I just don't know what his future looks like right now. But you're on a rebuild and getting rid of a 111, 112 pick. I mean, you lose a guy like Bateman or Elijah Moore that may take a couple years to build, but Ridley, if he comes back, he's definitely better than that. So let's run through that next trade. You got Miles Sanders from Matt for 2 seconds, which were Andy and Burns, and a third, which was Andrew Lee Sachs.
The thought going to that trade, that's been something I've been working on and contemplating since I made the Kenneth Gainwell trade. I've also been following the Eagles' rushing attack and know that in an offense where Jalen Hurts is the starting quarterback, more than likely they're going to be running the ball a lot eventually, just because he's just not an efficient passer. I really like.
They should be.
Exactly. I mean, that's why they've been successful the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Right.
And that also the big reason I like that is I didn't have to sacrifice any first and still maintain my 3 first next year, and probably a better second than the seconds I gave up to get a possible RB1.
Right.
And he's not playing for a few weeks, so he might help me, keep one of my picks a little better. So.
Yeah.
But I felt like solidifying the Philadelphia backfield was pretty good. I mean, Miles Sanders is only 24 and Kenneth Gainwell is a rookie. I think that they're the 2 future running backs there. I don't see Jordan Howard or Boston Scott really maintaining a role.
For sure. I would agree with that. Are there any trades that you loved or that you regretted throughout the course of the year so far?
Well, let's say
we only got a couple minutes, all right? We only got a couple minutes.
Okay. All right, well, I'll throw my whole list out then. I would say the one I regret sort of right now is the Henry Ruggs and Mixon trade, just because Henry Ruggs, he was looking promising and like a good bargain buy at the time. He looked like he was transforming maybe a year behind Hollywood Brown and what he's doing this year. So that was why I liked him so much. But I do kind of wish I had a running back right now to have a solidified running back that looks like he's going to be good for a couple seasons going into next year if I'm able to compete.
Right. If you've got one more, go ahead and throw it out there. I just had to give you a hard time because you've made like 20 trades, so I didn't want you to run through all of them.
I think that's low.
I've made 13 trades. Mattoon's made 19. You, Ty, have made 11, and I think Underhill has made 9.
And I haven't traded with you yet.
Right.
Colin, when you said that you've made 13 trades, I was like, this week, right?
Yeah, exactly. I just made 2 in the last 30 minutes.
Those will be posted later. It's fine.
Exactly. I didn't get commissioner approval. I'll probably lose a draft pick or 2.
All right. Well, I would love to ask you where you think you finished this year, but I think you're pretty much solidified at that 11th spot.
I would agree. I would say that I have a 2 games to catch up to 10th place, and I just don't foresee me winning 2 more games than those teams do. So I think me and you will probably be fighting for the last pick or the first pick in the draft, I should say. Probably was it week 14 or 15? I think we play.
No, we play, I believe, next week, right before rivalry, or right before we start back into division matchups. So I got you next week in week 12.
Right. I mean, I'm looking my championship season as I think I played Mattoon in the last week, so I'm hoping to maybe beat the favored champion so far.
So I got a quick question for you here, Nolan. Since we've kind of talked about tanking as a whole, right? Whatever. Me and you play next week. We are pretty much bottom of the barrel. Doesn't matter who wins, right? We're not tanking against the top team, so they win. We're not going to lose to a middle of the road team. I set 5 players in your lineup. You set 5 players in my lineup. Best pick. You set my top 5. I set your top 5, and we see who wins.
If you asked me if I regretted trade now, if you would have proposed that situation, I would have regretted the Corey Davis trade because he's got to stay in my starting lineup.
No, I get to pick your lineup though.
Perfect.
I'm sitting Davis.
Oh, you're sitting? No, well, I don't know if I could do that, my man.
Think about it. I'd love to put something funny together for next week where we get to kind of manage our own lineups.
I would totally be open to that. So you'd have to message me privately.
We'll get commission approval or something, down the road, or
we'll vote since we're in a democracy league now.
and since this is league approved, or since this is commission approved, no picks can be lost by tanking a week.
I agree. Let's give ourselves a week cushion. So.
All right. Well, do you have anything else you want to throw out there real quick before?
What do you guys see happening in the playoffs, or who do you guys see as the Final Four making it into the playoffs?
All right, let's do it. Because me and Boyer were going to talk about that after you get off. Let's do it. Well, so me and Boyer were actually going to run down top 4 and exactly where we saw them finish.
Okay.
So let's top division. Who's going to win, Matt?
I would agree.
Yeah,
Boy, you're not catching him.
I'm just too far back.
And he bought Saquon. I mean, he's got a leg up on you. Hopefully a full healthy leg. I don't know.
Yeah, right. I'll just beat you with his leg.
All right, so the bottom division. Let's go to the Collins division since that one seems to be easy as well. Colin Mattoon's going to win that one, right?
I would agree.
Okay.
I don't know, guys.
I think that Colin Kelly has a good team, but I think
is Mattoon's team really that good? Come on.
He keeps getting players and picks. I don't understand.
He's got a spell on us, man.
So then we'll go to the middle division. The middle division is what we thought would be the weakest division, maybe going into the year, is currently probably the best division, which is blown my mind. Underhill's at 7-3, Burns is 7-3, Andrew's 6-4. Andy is pretty much out of competition for this one, which he's okay with. He's ready for next year. So who's going to win that division first? And then we'll talk about wild card.
Boyer?
I'm kind of looking through the teams now because I know it's close. I'm going to lean towards winner as Burns.
Honestly,
that wide receiver core is kind of unreal.
And Fournette and Montgomery are a good combination at running back. I like them better than I like Jacobs and Connor.
Yeah, for sure. And his wide receivers are just have been stupid.
Right. And I would say that Underhill probably has the higher floor, but Burns' ceiling is like 200 points if all his players play up to their potential.
Right.
Yeah, it's a scary team.
And I think David Montgomery just continues to get better, and the Bears get better with him as the season goes as well.
You just say the Bears get better?
The running game.
Oh, the running game. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. I didn't quite catch that part. I got real confused.
I mean, I'm a little excited about Tevin Jenkins being back, but we'll see how that translates to production.
Is that an offensive fantasy guy? Because I don't know who those people are.
He's an offensive lineman.
He is.
And the Bears need him.
Oh.
He's not a fantasy name on any of these teams I'm finding. I'm very confused.
This is the advanced analytic part.
Oh. No, anyway. Clearly I knew better than that. So looking at wild card, you've got, if we say Burns is going to win that one, you got Underhill at 7-3, Andrew at 6-4, and Colin Kelly at 6-4. You could throw in any of these 4 and 6 teams if you think they're going to make a run, but I don't necessarily see that happening at this point. So if you think they are, let me know. But out of those 3, who do you got? Underhill, Andrew, or Colin Kelly making that run?
I think if Andrew makes a play on a wide receiver Ayuk just isn't going to be it to get him there. So I think if he buys a wide receiver, doesn't even have to be that good of a wide receiver, just a more playable wide receiver, I think he does it.
I would agree. I like Andrew's team a lot, honestly. He's very balanced, and he's got a lot of top-end ceiling guys that could just carry him if they got on a hot streak. Like I said, I have Burns winning, but I still think it's a toss-up between Underhill and Andrew for that wild card spot.
Yeah, I think the wild card's coming out of the middle division. I am also going to go Andrew. Underhill's team's not bad, but it's definitely been overperforming. His wide receiver core is mediocre, and this Cordero Patterson.
Yeah,
He's been
King Patterson.
He's been good this year, so I don't know how long that can last. I don't like the depth on his team, where Andrew's got Taylor and Harris and Mitchell and CeeDee Lamb and Diggs. I mean, he's just got enough there, and Zach Moss can fill in nicely. Like Boyer said, that one wide receiver he's missing maybe. But if CeeDee Lamb and Diggs have big games there, his team's good.
Right.
So I'm leaning Andrew at wild card, but it could go any which way at this point. So none of them get to play me or Nolan again for the random game.
Well, that's unfortunate for them.
Right. The only downfall is Colin Kelly gets to play Jeremy and Colin Nolan, which in the division games, which could help him get a couple extra wins, where Andy's team still isn't even that bad. And then Underhill, Burns, and Andrew all have to play each other.
Right. And Kelly has scored more points than Underhill, Burns, and Andrew.
Right. So Colin Kelly has a path. We'll see if he can pull it off. So and Colin plays Underhill this week. So
that could be huge implications in that game for sure. Right.
So other than that, Colin Mattoon was going to jump on, and he's dealing with kids and stuff.
We don't know anything about that.
Yeah, performance enhancing dads don't know anything about that. Boyer likes to rock his kids occasionally. Yeah, there you go. The fancy bouncing seat.
Are so entertaining.
So we get magic bouncing seats while we podcast, and it works out well.
I'd say that's probably the consensus of all the viewers tonight.
So with that, I actually Boyer, unless you got anything else, I think that's all we had. We were waiting on Mattoon, and that's not going to happen. So
No, we'll have to catch him next time, probably after he lifts the championship trophy.
Oh, real quick before we go anywhere else, boy, let's hit those last. Nolan, you can give us some too. Hit those last 3 trades we didn't finish up on.
Yeah. I'll
So,
pull that
so
back up.
Mattoon got Henderson from Jeremy Fryer for Rondale Moore, my second in 22, and Colin Kelly's second in 23. And I know Nolan has an opinion on this one.
Go for it, Nolan.
I mean, I liked it after looking at everything for both teams. I just thought that Mattoon adding another RB1, who also happens to be young and on a very good offense, that's probably going to be very good next year, even if he's in a timeshare. For Rondale Moore, who I don't really foresee being a thing until maybe next year, and that depends on who Cardinals sign in the offseason. But it seems like they're going to go to a more balanced attack. So I thought maybe a first would probably be a part of the equation there for Henderson, but I could see where they're both coming from.
Yeah, Boyer, you got an opinion on that one real quick?
Yeah, I thought Mattoon did a little bit of highway robbery here by getting a running back of that caliber without giving up a first. So
yeah, and so my opinion, I'm going to stick strictly to Rondale Moore. I don't think Rondale Moore is ever going to be a wide receiver 1 in the league. I think he'll be a good slot guy, a good role player for the Cardinals, but he's not big enough. They can manufacture touches for him, but he's not a guy that's going to break a lot of tackles. He's not a big guy that's going to go up and get the ball over a bunch of people. He's going to be that number 2 in Arizona. I don't think I ever will see him be the number 1 in Arizona. Makes that tough.
I
And
can
then you've
definitely
got
see him being like a Percy Harvin type of player where he just everything's manufactured, never more than 1,000 all-purpose yards type of guy.
which is still okay. Don't get us wrong. It's still okay.
Right.
But 2 seconds with it. And you saw a couple decent players in the second and the third. So, I mean, you could pull somebody, but until that comes up, I like the Henderson side of that better. So, all right. So I guess this is the last one because we talked about Nolan's 2, Ridley and Sanders. So the last one is I gave up Saquon to Matt for Bateman, 22 first, 23 first, and a contingency 23 second, which probably won't come through. But if Saquon becomes a top 5 running back next year, which could happen, really depends upon injury and how he plays. If he can get 14, 15 games, he can definitely be a top 5. And then I get a 23 second as well. What are you guys' thoughts on that one?
I think Saquon's days of being a top running back are over. He's been injury prone. He's only getting older. He still has a decent amount of wear and tear on him because of how often they used him in those first 3 years. And with how many injuries he's been fighting off this year, obviously the big one last year, I think getting 2 firsts for him now and Bateman is a good enough haul. And I would want to get rid of him because I just don't know if you can rely on him. He'll probably end up being in that like running back 12, 13, 14, where he'll flirt with running back numbers for a year, maybe 2, but sometimes you just gotta cut loose and move on. And for a team like Ty, where you're just rebuilding anyway, you don't want to deal with that. You want to go get chances at guys who can be top 5 and really carry your team. So good trade. I think for both, it's good value for now. On the Saquon side, but Ty, I think that you did good in getting him off your books.
I would agree, and Ty knows personally that I was involved in talking for Saquon for a couple months, but I mean, the hesitation for me to overpay was the injury concern for me because I kind of viewed him as a guy that could play 10 to 12 games a year and maybe get 1,000 yards still, but I want him for a full season if I'm paying top dollar for him and going to use him as a guy that carries me through the playoffs. I also liked the fact that Ty got Bateman out of the deal as well. I think I saw a stat the other day that he's in like the fourth highest start for receiving yards in NFL history for his first 4 games, and that's behind Randy Moss, Jamar Chase, and either OBJ or I can't remember who. But either way, he's on a ridiculous pace, and he hasn't really even exploded yet or had a breakout game. So that's a very good sign, in my opinion.
Yeah. So I was looking at getting Elijah Moore and and Bateman. Matt wouldn't move both of them, understandable. But getting the 2 of them, and then I was looking for a first and a second maybe with them instead of 2 firsts. But he wanted to give up the picks instead of the 2 players. I'm okay with it. I did pick Bateman over Elijah Moore, so we'll see how that plays out moving forward. I like the team. I like the situation. Although Baltimore runs the ball a lot, and I have Dobbins coming back next year, so I'm going to be double dipping with Bateman and Dobbins, so that team better not fall apart.
They have no history of falling apart. Like
sorry, Baltimore, that your team is about to die next year. But with that, I moved Saquon mostly because I have Gibson, which is fighting this fractured shin. I got Dobbins, which is out this year on an ACL tear. I had Saquon out with an ankle injury this year. I had to move one of them, and I knew Saquon was going to give me the biggest value at this point. So really, that's why I moved off, and I can still run into next year with Dobbins and Gibson as my 1 and 2. I've got a top draft pick. We'll see what happens there. I got 2 firsts and 2 seconds the next 2 years. So I mean, I got plenty of draft capital to make up a running back here. And I just gotta hope to hell one of them finds a good landing spot. So
Right.
I don't see any Najee Harrises in this next draft. But 2023, I've also got 2 draft picks in the first round. So we'll see what happens from there. But that was kind of my mindset. I needed to move one of the 3, and Saquon was my highest value.
Yeah, and I don't want to undersell Matt getting Saquon. Like, that's a good deal for this year for him. He's going to be fighting for a championship. There's a lot of good teams out there. If he wants to fight with Mattoon, you gotta pay up. So, and Saquon was probably his best bet. So I think that's a good idea for him. I like the value that you got, Ty. I thought it was smart for your team to get him.
Yeah,
And to add to that, Matt turned around and gave me Miles Sanders and recouped some draft picks. So even though he paid out 2 firsts, he still got 2 seconds for this year and an additional 3rd.
Yeah, so I mean, he's
out a little bit. So
he's sitting on 3 seconds this year. So I mean, he could pull a couple of solid, depth pieces with this draft. So we'll see. He's got, hopefully Chris Carson will come back for him. And he'll have Chris Carson to go with Saquon and McCaffrey for next year. So he's got the running backs to make another push next year as long as everybody stays healthy.
I agree. Before that trade, did you only have 1 first-round pick and then like a 4th and 5th round pick? I couldn't remember your draft pick for next year.
I had 1 first and 2 seconds for 21, and then I had 1 first and 2 seconds for 23.
Okay.
So I added the first in both years, and I have a possibility of a 3rd, 2nd come 23 now.
That's what I thought. It was a good move for you because for rebuilding, you definitely needed a little more draft capital.
Yeah. And moving Debo got me that 1st and 23. So I had no 1st and 23 until I moved Debo and Saquon. So see how it plays. But all right, well, we've hit all the trades. We've talked to our guests. So at this point, my team sucks. So
Ditto.
I got nothing for you guys, other than I'm looking forward to next year's rookie draft because that's all I can look forward to right now.
Start watching college football on Saturdays, Ty.
That's right. NFL's dead to me right now.
Don't watch the sidelines, Ty. Those are the injured players.
So
I think we should say sorry to the city of Baltimore next year when it just implodes and falls into a giant sinkhole.
Ty, you should.
Just the entire city is just gone off the face of the earth.
It might be better for the baseball at least. So, all right. Well, on that note, I appreciate all you guys that jumped on with us. I hope everybody that watches this enjoys this different segment. Bringing on a couple guests, seeing how they feel. And we'll catch you guys again, hopefully in another couple weeks before playoffs. So see ya.